Now, Cage and Miles presents Counsel's Corner.
Hi, Bill Griffith along with family law specialists Shannon Miles and Jamie Cage of Cage and Miles. Here on Counsel's Corner, ladies, we have been breaking down the elements of divorce. And today I want to ask you about couples dividing property here in California. How does that work, Shannon?
Well, it's important to first understand what community property is, because California is what we call a community property state.
Sure.
So what that means is that all the property and all the earnings of the spouses from the time they get married until the time they separate is considered to be divisible 50-50 in a divorce.
So is any property considered separate from the marriage?
It definitely is. So if one party owned property prior to the date of marriage, that's considered separate property. In addition, if one of the spouses received a gift or inheritance during the marriage, that could also be considered separate property.
Interesting. Now, we're not offering legal advice, they're just general guidelines, but what kinds of complications can arise generally?
Well, as you can imagine, it can get very complicated because during the marriage, everybody's happy, everybody trusts each other, everybody's putting that money all in one bank account, everybody's titling things in joint name without really giving thought to what happens if this marriage doesn't work out. And you know, that's where it does get complicated.
And what happens if a spouse owned property, real estate, that kind of thing, before the marriage?
So that can get complicated based off of the behavior of the parties during the marriage. So it might be important to even think about a premarital agreement. That's something we will be talking about on another segment, but there are certain actions a spouse could take that could potentially change the character of a separate property asset. So you want to be careful with that.
What's an example of that? Say I'm paying a mortgage before I got married.
Sure, so if you continue to pay that mortgage, you're using your income, which is now community property, and that can create a complication.
That's very interesting. There are just so many reasons to consult family law specialists, and sometimes, like you said, even before marriage, but it can get so involved.
It really can. It can get complicated, and you really need the assistance of a family law specialist in order to help you with these complicated property issues.
Absolutely do. And we'll deal with prenups and other things in later editions of Counsel's Corner. Meantime, go to cageandmiles.com or 858-943-2060.